Okay, picture this. You're walking down the hall, you see a coworker. They smile and say, "What's up?" And for that split second, your mind just goes completely blank. We have all been there, but you know what? Today, we're going to fix that. We are going to build the perfect toolkit so you can answer with total confidence every single time.
So, why does this happen? Why does this simple two-word phrase cause so much anxiety? It seems like it should be the easiest thing in the world, but for so many people, whether you're a non-native speaker or just anyone having a slightly awkward day, it feels like a pop quiz you are just not ready for.
And listen, if you feel that way, you are so not alone. This quote from a Reddit user just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that universal feeling of frustration. It is a shared experience, this little moment of conversational panic. So let's get right into it. Let's unpack that awkward silence, because understanding why this phrase is so confusing is the absolute first step. Once you see the machinery behind it, you can totally master the response.
Okay, so here's the big secret. What's up isn't really one single question. Think of it more like a social tool, a multi-tool even, with a couple of different functions. Yeah, most of the time it just means hello, but sometimes it means something very, very different. The real trick is learning how to spot the difference.
And that brings us to maybe the most important skill of all, decoding the context. This is what separates that feeling of confusion from pure confidence.
It really just boils down to two different scenarios. On one hand, you have the greeting. You're passing someone in the hall, you're starting a text. It's just a way to say hey. But on the other hand, you have the real question. This is totally different. If you knock on your boss's door and they look up and say, "What's up?" they actually mean, "What do you need?" Or if a friend sees you looking sad, they mean, "Hey, what's wrong?" It's all about the context.
Linguists actually have a cool name for the greeting version. It's called emphatic expression. It's just a fancy way of saying the words aren't really about conveying information, they're about social connection. It's like a quick little ping, a friendly signal to another person. So here's the big takeaway for this part. Stop trying to translate the words literally. It's not about the words. It's about reading the situation. Are you just walking by, or did you start a very specific interaction? Once you start looking for those cues, I promise you it gets so much easier. All right, so now that we know how to decode the question, let's build that toolkit. We're going to cover everything from the super safe standard replies all the way to some clever and even flirty ones. First up, the go-to. This is your response that works in like 90% of situations. This is for when "what's up" is just being used as a casual hello. These right here are your best friends. Seriously. Not much you, or nothing much, what's up with you? They are perfect. You acknowledge their greeting and you toss it right back. You can also just return it with a different greeting like, "Hey, how's it going?" It's a simple, zero-stress way to just complete that little social handshake. But what about those other times? When it's a real question, when your boss or your friend or your partner actually needs some information. In these cases, you just give a direct, informative answer. It's that simple. If a friend asks what you've been up to, you can say something like, "Just working on this big project." If a classmate says, "What's up?" after you tap their shoulder, you just say what you need. "Hey, can I borrow an eraser?" You just match their direct question with a direct answer. Okay, let's have a little fun with it. When you're with friends or people you know really well, you can inject a little bit of personality into your response. The classic, the literal dad joke. It's simple, it's a little bit goofy, and it's pretty much guaranteed to get at least a small chuckle, or maybe a groan, which, let's be honest, is sometimes just as good. I love this one because it's usually delivered with just a little bit of sarcasm. It's a really funny, relatable way to say that things are, well, they're happening. It's a perfect bit of dry humor for a coworker or a friend. And of course, for that special someone, a crush or a partner, you can use "what's up" as a perfect little opportunity for some playful banter. Now, this one is clever, right? It's a little cheeky and honestly pretty charming. It's just a really sweet and funny way to pay someone a compliment. And here's a more direct option, but still very sweet and effective. It's a really simple way to let them know that, yeah, they're on your mind. Now, it's really easy to think that this is just some weird English language problem, but it's not at all. This kind of social greeting is a basic, fundamental part of human communication all over the world. For example, if you go to Ireland, you'll hear "what's the crack?" In parts of the UK, it's just a quick "you're right," and you can answer right back with "you're right."
Of course, in Australia, there's the famous good day, and in South Africa, how is it? They all do the exact same social job.
When you get right down to it, all these phrases are just a verbal handshake. They're a universal way of acknowledging someone, of opening the door for a potential conversation, without having to commit to a big, long talk.
Which kind of brings us to a final thought. After all of this, how should we really think about this phrase? Is it just some lazy, meaningless greeting? Or is it something more? Is it a key that, when you use it correctly, can unlock everything from a simple, polite nod to a really deep conversation?
The answer is, it's a tool. It's whatever you need it to be in that moment. And you know what the best part is? Now you know exactly how to use it. That awkward silence, that's a thing of the past.